Welcome to Ancient Edge. Now, just close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing at the threshold of human history when the world was untamed and, honestly, every sunrise was uncertain. In this primordial landscape, long before the rise of empires or the construction of monuments, our ancestors made a choice that would echo through the ages. They picked up stones not to build, but to destroy. They formed groups not just to hunt, but to fight. Today we embark on a journey to answer one of humanity's most haunting questions. Why did we first turn against each other? The story of human violence is written not in ink, but in bone and stone, buried beneath layers of time. It's a tale that, well, challenges everything we think we know about our species, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about who we are. This is not just ancient history. This is the origin story of a pattern that continues to shape our world today. The silent witnesses, ancient violence revealed. The Nile Valley holds one of humanity's oldest and, frankly, most chilling secrets. At a site called Jebel Sahaba in Sudan, archaeologists discovered a cemetery dating back more than 13,000 years. This is not simply an ancient burial ground, it is a mass grave that tells the story of systematic violence on a scale that can only be described as warfare. The skeletons found at Jebel Sahaba bear unmistakable marks of violent death. Stone projectile points were embedded in bones, lodged in skulls, rib cages, and limbs. Men, women, and even children were victims. The evidence suggests multiple episodes of conflict, a pattern of violence that persisted over time. What makes Jebel Sahaba significant is its organized nature. This was collective conflict, groups attacking groups with deadly intent and sophisticated weapons. This discovery fundamentally challenges the notion that warfare is a recent invention. More than 13 millennia ago, long before agriculture or permanent settlements, humans were already engaging in organized, lethal violence against each other. The agricultural revolution, when survival became possession. The transition from hunting and gathering to agriculture, beginning around 10 to 12,000 years ago, fundamentally changed how humans related to each other and the landscape. Before agriculture, human groups were largely nomadic, following game and seasonal resources. Territories were fluid, and conflicts, while they occurred, allowed for the option to move on. Agriculture changed everything. Humans became tied to specific pieces of land. The investment in clearing fields, planting crops, and building permanent structures meant movement became impossible. More importantly, agriculture created storable surpluses. For the first time, wealth could be accumulated, stored, and, well, critically, stolen. This transformation created the fundamental conditions for organized warfare. Land became a finite, highly valuable resource. Crops represented months of labor and the difference between survival and starvation. All of these could be defended or taken by force, and raiding became a viable strategy for acquiring resources. From tools to weapons, the technology of death. The stone axes used to clear forests could just as easily split skulls. The spears employed in hunting large game were, honestly, equally effective against human enemies. The line between tool and weapon has always been, well, dangerously thin. As conflict became more common, this dual-use technology began to diverge. Craftsmen started creating implements designed specifically for human combat. Stone projectile points were shaped for maximum damage. Clubs were weighted for striking. Blades were crafted with edges optimized for cutting flesh. The sophistication of these weapons tells us that early conflicts may have used tools at hand, But as violence became organized and frequent, humans invested resources into perfecting the art of killing each other. By the Bronze Age, around 5,000 years ago, military technology accelerated dramatically. Bronze weapons represented significant investment, suggesting warfare had become important enough to justify such expenditure. The rise of organized warfare, strategy, and ritual. When we examine evidence from the first true civilizations in Mesopotamia and Egypt, warfare had evolved from opportunistic raiding into something far more sophisticated. Armies were organized, trained forces led by professional warriors and strategic commanders. The Standard of Ur, an artifact from ancient Sumeria dating to around 2600 BCE, depicts organized military formations, chariots, and prisoners. This is not chaotic violence, but disciplined, hierarchical, and purposeful. Warfare had become institutionalized, a recognized function of the state. But warfare was never just about resources. It became deeply embedded in human culture and identity. In many societies, the warrior class held privileged positions. Military victories were celebrated in art and monuments. Leaders were expected to demonstrate military prowess. Warfare became a pathway to glory, honor, and fame. In some cultures, battle took on ritual dimensions. Combat between champions could decide disputes. Religious ceremonies preceded campaigns. Warriors underwent initiations. Violence became ritualized, structured by rules and meanings beyond simple resource competition. This cultural embrace meant that peace was not always the default state. For many ancient peoples, war was expected, even desired. Nature or nurture, the eternal question. What does this evidence tell us about the origins of war? Those who argue warfare is rooted in human nature point to its antiquity and universality. Even chimpanzees engage in coordinated raids. Aggression, territoriality, and in-group loyalty are deeply rooted psychological traits. Others insist warfare is primarily social, emerging from specific conditions. Many hunter-gatherer societies have maintained peaceful existences. Violence varies dramatically across cultures and time. The sharp increase in organized warfare correlates with agriculture and permanent settlements. The archaeological evidence suggests both perspectives capture partial truth. Humans have capacity for both cooperation and violence. Which prevails depends on circumstances, population density, resource availability, social organization, and cultural values. We are complex beings whose behavior emerges from the interaction of biology, environment, and choices. What is undeniable is that violence and cooperation have walked hand in hand throughout human history. The same sites revealing warfare also show trade networks, artistic achievement, and technological innovation. The walls of Jericho that protected against enemies also enclosed a sophisticated community. This duality defines the human experience. We are simultaneously the species most capable of cooperation and most dangerous to itself. Understanding this paradox is crucial for comprehending our past and navigating our future. The ancient origins of warfare teach us that violence is neither inevitable nor unnatural. It emerges from specific conditions and is shaped by cultural choices. Early humans fought over resources when they became scarce, over territory when it became valuable, and for prestige when their cultures made warriors into heroes. But they also traded, cooperated, and created, looking forward by looking back. The origins of war lie not in some unchangeable flaw in human nature, but in the complex interplay of survival pressures, resource competition, cultural values, and social organization. Our ancestors lived in conditions where violence often seemed rational. The graves at Jebel Sahaba, the walls of Jericho, the weapons in ancient tombs, These are not just relics. They are mirrors showing us ourselves, warnings about what we are capable of, and evidence that we have always had choices. War may be ancient, but so is cooperation. Violence may be part of our heritage, but so is compassion. This is Ancient Edge. If this journey into the darkest corners of our shared past has moved you or made you think differently about human nature, subscribe to continue exploring the hidden forces that shaped our species. Share this with others who seek to understand not just where we came from, but why we are the way we are. Join us next time as we uncover more secrets buried in the earth, more truths hidden in ancient bones. The story of humanity is written in both blood and achievement, and understanding both is essential for whoever we choose to become. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and never stop seeking the truth about who we are.